Hi everyone, my name is Angelie and Soso, a student from BSHM 2A. For today's video, I will be discussing about a short introduction and short information about history of a well-known drink named Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is widely known as being a symbol of America. It was created by Dr. John Pemberton, a famous physician in the 1800s. John was born in the small town of Knox Valley and raised in Rome, Georgia. When he was 19 years old, he received his license to practice Thomsonian medicine. Thomsonian medicine was known to use the principle of botany and herbalism to rid the body from harmful toxins. At the time, it wasn't well respected and many were suspicious of the practice. But that didn't stop Dr. John Pemberton from opening a business that specializes materia medica, substances that were used to make medical remedies. A few years later, Dr. John pursued a more conventional path and earned a graduate degree in pharmacy. But not long after, he was forced to ditch his white lab coat for a button uniform. The Civil War had erupted and John was made as a first lieutenant. 3 years into battle, he got caught in a direct line of fire and was slashed with a saber. His doctors didn't think that he would live and gave his morphine for his last few hours, but he miraculously survived. But from then on, it was only a matter of time until John was back on his feet. When the Civil War is cleared, John strived for a better life and became a member of a pharmaceutical firm. The media called it one of the most impressive labs in the US, and John Pemberton became known as the most famous physician in Atlanta. But behind those, he was struggling after his near-death experiencing. He became addicted to morphine with no cure in sight for what had become a daily habit. He looked for a herbal remedy. After the time, he heard good things about a drink called Vin Mariane that contained ground of coca leaves and red wine and was said to heal any ailment. That gave John the idea of making his own version to cure his morphine addiction. By using coca leaves, red wine, and cola nuts, he created what he called Pemberton's French wine coca. John believed that his Pemberton's French wine coca not only cured addiction, but also depression, anxiety, and different ailments, including headaches. To help other war veterans, he set up a distribution network to sell his remedy. He would make in his lab and ship it to partners and constructors who could sell it as they like. The remedy was an instant hit and the use by many. But the demand alone wasn't enough to keep the business going. John was faced with challenges that forced him to pivot his new business, leading to the invention of Coca-Cola. In the year 1885, the Pemberton's French wine coca hit the market. Atlanta announced that they would be joining other US states in banning alcohol. John raced to come up with a new formula that when he removed the wine, he realized that the cola nuts made it extremely bitter, so he replaced it with synthetic caffeine and then added sugar, citric acid, vanilla, lemon oil, orange, nutmeg, and coriander extracts. Afterwards, John bookkeeper named Frank Robinson suggested that he change the name to Coca-Cola. However, he insisted that it be spelled in 2 C's since it would look more eye-catching. John took his advice and launched his new remedy. In 1886, it was total disaster. The first year of sales topped over $50 with a sunken cost of $70 in supplies. John saw this as a failure. Meanwhile, Frank saw it differently. His optimism led to coming up with another brilliant idea: marketing the remedy through banners street card placards, and store owning. John was hesitant, but Frank convinced them it was a risk worth taking. Fortunately, he wasn't wrong. Coca-Cola became a hit through Atlanta. John and Frank proved that when faced a challenge, tackling it instead of giving up can lead to new heights of success. In a strange twist of fate, John's health dwindled as Coca-Cola sales heightened. He was diagnosed with stomach cancer and relapsed to ease the pain. Worried that money for his family and addiction would run dry, he made the difficult decision of selling shares of the business, but that didn't mean he had little expectations for the future of Coca-Cola. He believed it would become a national drink one day and keep a third of his shares for his son named Charles Pemberton. At the time, Charles was in charge of manufacturing but later became a morphine addict himself. Frank Robinson feared that Coca-Cola would have no one to steer John's vision of going national. So he took on the responsibility of finding the right investor as John remained bedridden. Through a business contact, Frank Robinson met a wealthy and hardworking entrepreneur named Asa Candler. When Frank approached him, he told him that he didn't think that Coca-Cola was a worthwhile venture. But Frank knew better while the two stood outside one day. Frank pointed to a wagon and said, "See that wagon going by with all those empty beer kegs? We were going to push Coca-Cola until you see wagon going by with Coca-Cola just like that." Asa Candler was swayed by the company's vision and bought the rights to the Coca-Cola's name and secret formula. And just Frank predicted, he wasted no time in building the company. He not only expanded sales to more pharmacies and grocery stores, but came up with an idea that made history. He gave a little slips of paper that could be redeemed for a glass of Coca-Cola at soda fountains. At the time, they were considered a popular hangout spot where many went to socialize. It was the first instance in history where a company gave out what is now called coupons for free samples. John's vision for Coca-Cola was the case to instilling faith among his employees and later the man who would help build its brand. Sadly, John Pemberton never did see his entire vision unfold. 2 years after Asa started to grow the company, he succumbed to morphine addiction and died penniless. With Charles' own addiction worsening, Asa Candler took over and founded the Coca-Cola Company. He led the expansion of selling Coca-Cola to every US state and Canada. Asa was also short-sighted when it comes to an idea. One day, two lawyers named Joseph Whitehead and Benjamin Thomas walked into Asa's office, and they said, "Coca-Cola is already successful as a fountain drink, but what if it was bottled?" They proposed. Asa thought it was a ridiculous idea. He believed that the future of Coca-Cola was in fountain drinks. Bottling was an expensive operation that he wanted no part of. He told Joseph and Benjamin that you can bottle all the Coca-Cola you want for just $1. He had nothing to lose since if they succeed, they would sell more syrup, and if they failed, he wouldn't lose penny. Afterwards, Joseph and Benjamin found other people to finance and build an operation to bottle Coca-Cola. It became one of the first franchising business in America. To Asa's surprise, customers were hooked in Coca-Cola bottles. It became so popular that competitors tried to create their own version. Eventually, the Coca-Cola Company decided to create something more unique and difficult to copy: a contour bottle. that way customers would know that they were getting the real Coca-Cola products. Years later, the amount of Coca-Cola sold in bottles exceeded the number sold through soda's fountains. Joseph and Benjamin's so-called ridiculous idea inspired Coca-Cola's iconic packaging and paved the way for its continued success. The year after Coca-Cola developed its contour bottle, Asa resigned from the company because he was elected as the mayor of Atlanta and handed the company over to his children. 3 years later, they sold it for $25 to a group of investors. At the time, it was the biggest financial deal in the history of the America South. One of the investors behind the deal was a banker named Ernest Woodruff, who took the company public that year. He streamlined Coca-Cola's production process and ensured quality was maintained when produced anywhere. Not long after, Ernest Woodruff retired and convinced his son, Robert Woodruff, to become the president of the company. Under his leadership, the company removed the tiny amounts of cocaine from the formula. Afterwards, it launched metal-top open coolers, 6-bottle packs, and automatic fountain dispensers. It also succeeded in taking care of Asa's unfinished business, creating the demand for Coca-Cola, and company advertised, gave away, and sold Coca-Cola all over Europe. Refreshing import bottles were green with a gold foil sealed to resemble champagne and magnums. They also created an association with many historical and celebratory events. Today, Coca-Cola is closely associated with American culture and is known as a national symbol. It's also the second most recognized brand in the world. And every day, nearly 2 billion servings of its drink are served in more than 200 countries. Before Robert retired from Coca-Cola, he kept a paperweight on his desk that read, "There is no limit to what a man can do or where he can go if he doesn't mind who gets the credit." This is the story of how a pharmacist turned war veteran and his successors built Coca-Cola, over $70 billion brand. You gain lots of knowledge from today's most successful company that I discussed. That's all. Thank you and goodbye.